Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My hair is like up and there's like a fly buzzing around here. It won't stop. You guys see it? See the fly? What the heck? Alright, so anyways, you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Simplykrystelle. So today's video is going to be a chat with Krys video. This is my third video here on my channel. So basically, chat with Krys is I just talk about, like, you know, life issues, not like deep issues, but just like a lot of like self-worth issues, self-love, confidence issues. And I just thought I would come on here and do my third episode. So today's episode is all about knowing your worth and knowing how valuable you are and how important you are, and just knowing, like knowing about our worth and how valuable you are and how valuable we all are. And I know, like, sometimes like you don't hear it, or you might not feel it, or you might feel like very down about yourself. So I just wanted to just have this time to chat with you guys. And for today's video, I'm not gonna do my makeup because I just filmed this video and I did like a full face of Flower Beauty, so I didn't want to, you know, do that. So before we get into the video, guys, please press the subscribe button down below, and also please give this video a thumbs up. And we're just gonna sit down today and just talk about knowing your worth and knowing your value. I just felt compelled to make this video because I just feel like there's so many people who don't know how valuable they are or how worthy they are, or they don't feel like they are worthy. And this could be in relationships, like friendships too, like not just like romantic relationships. This could be in romantic relationships, it could be friendships, this could be in work, this can be in personal, like life, whatever. So I just feel like you have to know how worthy you are, and you have to know just your value. And I'm not saying to be like to be overly confident and to say, oh well, I'm better than this person. No, not that type of worth. I'm saying, like, you have to know how valuable you are and how important you are, and if somebody doesn't see that, then they shouldn't be in your life. Now let's not confuse this with being like arrogant or being like overly like pompous, you know. We're not confusing with that. We're just saying that there's a healthy way to show you're confident and to show your worth and you show you're worthy. And you know, this goes for anybody who's struggling in their lives, and anybody who's feeling like kind of down themselves, and who might feel like they're not good enough, or who might feel like, you know, they're not the best. Don't ever let anyone make you feel, or don't ever give anyone that power or the satisfaction to like tear you down, to make you doubt yourself. That is one thing that people will use against you. Like, people will literally make you feel and make you question yourself and make you ask yourself like who you are. People will sometimes make you think a certain way about yourself, and I feel like, and I'm not like, you know, bashing anybody or saying anything bad, because people, you know, they do things for different reasons. Like, we can't always say that that person's a bad person or whatever, because to be honest with you guys, I don't know if you ever heard this saying, but hurt people hurt people. When people are hurting, sometimes the way that they cope with whatever they're hurting, whatever they're going through, they cope through that by hurting other people. I'm not saying that it's right that they're doing that, but you can't always think that when people say something mean or rude or whatever, you can't always take it and like attack that person, because you don't know what that person's going through. I always say this, I always feel like everybody has a story. Everybody has a story, and everybody's going through a battle, and everybody's coping and getting through whatever they're going through their own way. So with that being said, I just wanted to really talk to you guys about your worth and your value. And I feel like that is one of the most important things. And I see so many young girls, and even like the girls I work with, because I'm a teacher. I mean, I teach first grade, but even so, like in elementary school, you know, I see the older girls in third, fourth, and fifth, and it starts literally like in childhood, like confidence issues, self-esteem issues, things like that. Like, that starts very young, you know. Like, when I was in, this is not funny, but when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, like, I had like zero confidence, like zero. And I remember in middle school, this is like a really stupid story, but when I was in middle school, this kid in my class, he came up to me and said, "You're ugly." Like, I was walking the hallway, he just went up to me and said, "You're ugly." And it just, now, like, thinking about it, like, now I just laugh at it. But back then, it really, really, like, affected me. And now I just, like, laugh at it because it was so stupid. But back then, I was just like, you know, it kind of hurt, because when I was in middle school and elementary school, I was never the girl who got asked out, or, you know, who was a popular girl, whatever. Like, I had a best friend back then. She was so pretty, like, really, really beautiful, and, you know, everybody liked her, whatever. But, like, I had, like, you know, I was never that. But I'm just saying, like, confidence issues and things like that, it starts from childhood. It really, really does. And I see it now, even with the kids I work with. Like, I see it, and I think that as a society, we have to teach our young girls, and boys too, because boys can be self-conscious as well. Our young children who are growing up, we have to teach them from a young age worthiness. I'm not saying to teach them to think that they're better than anybody, because that is not cool. Like, if you teach someone to think that they're better than someone else, that's not right. I don't think anybody should think that they're above anybody else, and I don't think anyone should think that they're better than anybody else, because that's not right. But I think that we should teach people to know their worth and know themselves. And I think one of the worst things that someone can do is try to tell somebody who they are. Like, I don't think anybody has a right, and it's nobody's place to tell someone who they are. That is one of my pet peeves, when people try to tell other people who they are, or when people try to tell people how they are. Like, in the sense of, I'm not saying, like, okay, like, for example, like, if I'm calling out my friend because she's, like, being, like, rude or whatever, then that's different. I feel like you don't tell someone their core and who they are, like, or, like, you don't tell someone, like, I think it's just one of my pet peeves when people try to tell people, like, who they are and, like, what they need. Like, for example, like, some people might say, "Oh, well, you need to go," not to me, but, like, I've seen it, people, like, say, like, "Oh, well, you are, like, very unstable," and things, and I understand, like, sometimes if it's very serious, whatever, but I don't like when people try to, like, judge other people and tell that person who they are as a person. It's different to tell somebody, like, you might be acting a certain way in that moment, but you don't tell someone who they are in their core. And that's just, I feel like we have to stop doing that. Or, like, when people say to other people, "Oh, you're a materialistic person," or "You like to show off," like, and I see that all the time on social media. Like, I see it all the time. Like, people go on these influencers pages, on Jaclyn Hill's page a lot, and they tell her, "Oh, you're a materialistic person, you like to show off," and it's like, you don't even know her. Like, I bet you, like, these people who tell her that have never had a conversation with her, and they don't even know her personally. So it's just kind of like, I don't like when people tell other people who they are, because you don't know them. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about that, like, worthiness. Like, I think that, let's think of confidence and self-esteem as a big, like, umbrella, right? And then your umbrella, you have various parts of that umbrella, various colors. And I think that self-worthiness is one of those things, like, guys, you have to be able to establish who you are, and you have to be able to know who you are, so that when someone tries to come in your life and tell you who you are, you don't let it affect you. And I think that's comes with, like, the whole self-esteem and confidence. Like, you have to establish who you are as a person, and you have to establish your worthiness, and you have to know what you're worth. And it's gonna take time, because trust me, like, this whole journey to self-love and all that stuff, it takes time. It's not gonna happen overnight. But I think that, and this is a saying that I used to say, you spend your time saying something negative to yourself all the time, every day. Where has it gotten you? Try to say something good about yourself and see how far that gets you. Or try to do something different and try to say something nice to yourself and see how far that gets you. And I've kept this saying for a while. Like, it's true. Like, you wake up and you say these bad things about yourself, or you think these negative things about yourself, but it hasn't got you very far. So why don't you try to do the opposite and see how far that gets you? This thing that I really like is to think of is, we spend so much time complimenting other people, and we spend so much time uplifting other people and wishing well for other people. Some of us. But why don't we do the same for ourselves? Just like how you tell somebody, oh my gosh, I love your hair. Oh my gosh, I love your makeup. Oh my gosh, I love your outfit. Why don't we do the same for ourselves? And I think that was a very eye-opening saying that I read or heard it, because it's true. Like, we spend so much time rooting for other people and complimenting other people, but we don't do it for ourselves as much. And that goes along with too knowing our worth. Like, trust me guys, if you wake up every day and say something, one good thing about yourself every single day, your confidence will go so much higher, and you will start loving that person that you see in the mirror. I want you guys to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you, just like you would say it to your boyfriend or to your mom or to your sister or whatever, whomever, husband, wife, girlfriend, whatever. I want you guys to say it to yourself, because you have to love yourself. If anything, you have to love yourself just as much or more than others, because this person who you are is who you are. And I think that we sometimes forget so much about how important it is to care about ourselves and to value ourselves, because we're so focused on work, we're so focused on everything that life has for us. But guys, it's very important to take time to be with yourself and to get to know yourself, because I think that's one of the most important, that's probably the most important relationship you'll have. I mean, aside from, you know, relationship with, if you're a believer, like I believe in God and stuff like that, but I think that it's one of the most important relationships you're ever going to have, is a relationship with yourself. I think with valuing your worth and knowing your worth, there are certain things that you won't put up with. Like, for example, like being disrespected. Maybe if you've had, you know, failed relationships in the past. I'm not a relationship expert by any means. Like, I'm not a relationship expert or anything like that. But if you've had like failed relationships, or you've been disrespected by a partner, or you've been disrespected by friends or whatever, I think if, like, knowing your worth, there are certain things you will not put up with, and there's certain people you will not let them get away with certain things. So I think it's very, very important that you guys know your worth. And I know I'm going off on like a ramble, and I have so many things that I want to talk about here, and this is one of those topics that I love. Like, I love learning about self-love, affirmations, confidence, worthiness. I just love like uplifting people, and I love talking about it and just having that open conversation, because I feel like, you know, we don't see that a lot. And, you know, I know like right now with the whole like COVID and stuff, it's a very like uncertain time, but I think that this is a great time to get to know yourself. And I think it's a great time to look in the mirror and get to know that person who's looking back at you, and tell that person who's looking at you in the mirror how much you love that person and what you appreciate about that person. Because I bet you that you can tell yourself at least one thing that you love about yourself, and you can find that self-worth. Because if you guys know your worth, you will know exactly what to put up with, you will know exactly what not to put up with, you will know exactly what you deserve and what you don't deserve. And I think that especially young girls and young boys and people, like, they don't hear that enough. And I wish, like, in high school, which is like one of the toughest times in, I feel like, an adolescent's life, high school, middle school, I feel like they should have like these self-love talks and self-worth talks and just like confidence talks. Because I see so many kids and I see so many young people who walk with their heads down and have no confidence, or they don't know their value and their worth, and it's very sad. And I just want to like give them like a hug and talk to them and tell them all these things. But I just also think that you have to know your worth, and you have to know that you're worthy. And I think even if every day you look in the mirror and say, I'm worthy, or I'm good enough, or, you know, things that just uplift yourself, and you'll start to find your worth. And I think that some people have in their minds, it's embedded, oh, like, I'm not good enough, or oh, I'll never be good enough, or oh, I'll never, you know, amount to this. And it's like, what are you talking about? How do you know you're not good enough? Did you try? And, you know, all those people you see on social media and TV and stuff, you know how many times those people edit? Or do you know how much those people Photoshop or sometimes like the girls will take like a really cool picture and like their body's like cropped out, and it's just like, don't believe everything that you see, and don't base your worth on other people. Like, do not ever think that your worth should come from someone else. Like, for example, don't think that the amount of compliments you get or the amount of guys who ask you out is where your worth comes from, because your worth comes internally. It comes from you. You establish your worth. It does not come externally. It doesn't come from someone else complimenting you. It doesn't come from someone else telling you how much they like you. It doesn't come from someone else calling you beautiful. It doesn't come from someone else telling you how much they want to date you. That's not where your self-worth comes from. Your self-worth comes from you, and you have to build that self-worth, and you have to create that self-worth, and you have to establish that self-worth. And you have to be able to say, you know what, even if, like, when you're alone by yourself, you have to be able to know your self-worth. So I think like self-worth, like sometimes people might think it comes externally, but it doesn't. It comes internally from you, and you're the only person who can really establish your self-worth, because if you have that set self-worth in yourself, then you're not going to put up with all that BS from other people. You're not going to let people talk to you any type of way. You're not going to let people treat you any type of way. And I think that that's very important. And I mean, I'm 25 years old. I'm going to be 26 in September, and I'm still learning like everybody else. I'm still, learning, and every day is a new day, and, every day is a learning experience. So I think it's just very important for you guys to know your worth. And I think it's very important for you to know who you are. And I think it's very important for you to get to know you and get to know that person who you look at every day in the mirror, and be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Say kind words to yourself. Like, be just like how you're kind to your best friend, and just like how you tell your best friend great things and you uplift your best friend, do the same to yourself. Because like that saying says, you spend every day looking in the mirror saying something negative about yourself or thinking something negative. Why don't you try something different and see how far that'll get you? And I want you guys to think about that. Like, if you spend every day looking in the mirror and saying something negative or whatever, try the opposite and see where that gets you. Because I'm telling you right now, it's life-changing. Once you start being kind to yourself and loving yourself and knowing your worth and establishing worth, like, your whole persona and your whole energy, your quality of life is just so much better, and you'll be so much happier. And I think that you have to be your own best friend. You really do. You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to cheer yourself up. You have to hype yourself up. You have to be your own hype man to really feel that sense of worth, to really love yourself. You have to love yourself in this life. It saddens me when I see other people who don't like themselves, and it's like, don't look for external people to make you think things about yourself. Like, don't look for compliments to make you think that you're beautiful. You have to think that you're beautiful on your own. You have to be able to look in the mirror and say you're beautiful and you're good enough and you're smart and all these things. Don't go out there looking for people to tell you. You have to think that for yourself. So I just wanted to come on here and just tell you guys how worthy you are and how amazing you are. And even if you don't believe me today, even if you don't believe me tomorrow, even if you don't believe me in a month, tell yourself something nice every day. And look in the mirror and tell yourself that I love you to yourself, or tell yourself a good thing about yourself. And tell me how it goes. Come back in maybe a month or two and do it every day, and let me know how it goes and how it works for you. If you're someone who's struggling with confidence or self-love issues or self-worth, please DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is Simplykrystelle. I'll put it down below. You can DM me on Instagram. You can write me on Twitter. And I don't mind chatting with you guys and whatever. Like, I'm here to help. And just let me know, like, if you're struggling through anything. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to be here. And I just want to know, guys, to know that you are worthy and you are beautiful and you are good enough and you can do anything you want. And stop looking for validation from others, because you need to validate yourself. So stop looking for others to validate you. Start validating from within and find your self-love and tell yourself how much you love yourself, and tell yourself a good thing about you every day. So thank you so much for watching. This is it for this knowing your worth video. I'm so passionate about these topics, like worth, all these things. And if you guys want to see more of these videos, please let me know in the comment section. I don't mind filming these videos. I love these types of videos. And just thank you so much for watching. And please subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed. And please also give this video a thumbs up. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.